So in our last video I showed us how we can create tables, and I even showed us data types within tables. And well, in our today's video what we're going to do is insert values into these tables. Well, as you can see, but to add values we use the query insert, and it's already written here as insert. So what we can do here is we can simply just click on insert. That's after specifying the table, and this page comes up. Now we are going to have, well, the fields that we actually created with the data types and length, to remind you that you can't put something bigger than this. So insert, well, here is 1, but since we have that attribute as auto increment, since we have it ticked, we don't really need to put this. We don't need to put this because I explained the reason why we actually put it there. So we don't really need to fill this field. It will actually do it for us. For username, well, I have been talking about John and John and John, so let's take a sample. Maybe username is John, and password, we can take password as any other thing, maybe login, just like I said. So username as John, password as login. Let's try using them here. So username John, password login. Okay, so we just click go, and when you click go, you see this is message. You see one row inserted row ID is 1. It actually automatically did it for us, and this is the equivalence of the query we just did here, and that was it. Well, here this just shows you the query as it is, the raw query, just like I can say, for that's when you are using the MySQL proper. Well, as you can see, phpMyAdmin makes you escape lots of MySQL queries. That's why I do the command prompt, and the main aim of this lesson is for one to learn MySQL, and it's assumed that once you're done with these lessons, with this course, you'll be able to write simple queries using MySQL, and you can be able to insert them into your programs while using databases. Okay, now that was it. We just inserted our first figure, our first value into MySQL, and well, let's try using the command prompt to do it. So MySQL U for root and P no password, and we already know the database we want to use, right? So we can say use tutorial 2, and well, we know the table we want to use. So this is the query: insert into. Mind you, all the capital letters I do here indicate the keywords, so we can't create a table and name that table insert, or you name a table into. So insert into, the name of the table now would be, well, let me just do the general format again here. Well, this is how it goes. It's actually the insert query. So you insert into, now we have a table name, and we in brackets we actually indicate the fields we have. So let's say field 1 separated by a comma, field 2, and maybe field 3, comma, up to field N, and we have another keyword as values. So now when inserting the values, except that value is a number, we have to put that value within quotes. So let's say value 1 quote separated by a comma, another quote, value 2 quote separated by a comma, value 3 quote separated by a comma, up to value n within quotes, and we close and then a semicolon. Now this is how it basically looks. Well, let me actually make this smaller. Yeah, this is how it basically looks, and by this you'll be able to see that okay, I have to put an insert query and into, then the table name. Well, we have fields and then the values, and this can be a very good guide for you while creating table using the normal, while inserting values using MySQL, using SQL. And well, let's jump into this. So insert into, table name is admin, and we know the fields, right? And we don't, just like we did in the other one, we didn't put anything for ID because we already left it at auto increment. So here we don't really need to do that too. So the field name, the first field name is username, second field name is password, and we're going to insert values. First value is John. Now this is how it works. The values section now makes corresponds this to this. So I can't say I've indicated username and password here, and I would say I want to start by writing the password here and this, because it maps this to this. So you have to be very careful while using it. So password as login and semicolon, query OK, one row affected. So well, to view whatsoever content that we have within our table, we use the select query. So select all. Now asterisk means all, so select all from admin table, and when you do that, you'll be able to see that okay, we have ID as 1, username John, password login. And well, to be very specific, you can actually use select all again from admin table, and you use your condition where now you name a field. You want to use username, you want to use password, you want to use the ID. That all depends on you. But since we use ID as the primary key and we used it, and the meaning of it being there is to serve as the uniquely identifying field, we would actually want to use ID, unless in such queries that we want to actually search for all users whose names are John. So that's why when we can use that. So where ID equals 1, for example, we still view this, right? And let me just strictly briefly add another user. Let's say Jane. Yeah, I like combine John and Jane. And we have query OK, and when we say select all from admin, we'll be able to see we have John and Jane. And when we do this query, we want to select all from admin where ID is 1, we can only view Jane. When we see where ID is 2, we can only view Jane. And that's how it works. Well, you can even say where username equals John, you see John, where username equals Jane, you'd see Jane. And well, that's how this works. And we have just inserted some values into our table tutorial, into our admin table, and this is how it basically works. And you see, it's no big deal, and I believe you have learned something. And if you have any questions, just drop comments and I'll provide a comment box for you to ask your questions. So thank you very much, and see you in the next video.